What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to talk about the state of living in Arizona. Should you leave? Should you stay? For those of you who've been keeping up with this channel for a while, you know that I'm from Arizona. I grew up there. I've also made this channel documenting my experience, especially during the 2020 situation that happened. I was going all across the state. But right now, I'm currently making videos and I'm in Indonesia right now. And people have asked me when I'm coming home. They say, "When are you coming home to Arizona?" And I say, "Well, I'm actually traveling full time, so I don't know when." But then they start to question whether or not they should even consider leaving Arizona. And I'm going to give my thoughts and, my opinions on the situation, whether or not I still think Arizona is a good place to live. And I'm going to be very honest here. I'm going to tell you what I really think of the United States in the current situation. And I'm going to give you a really honest assessment of where Arizona stacks up inside of the United States. So let's get into this right now. Thanks to everyone who's already smashing up the likes. I can see you guys smashing up the likes. Let's see here. What time is it in Phoenix? I think so. Right now here in Indonesia, it's 10:08. I'm in Surabaya. I'm at the JW Marriott. I've got fast internet, so that's great. I think it's 8:08 in Phoenix or in Arizona, in Tucson, Flagstaff, wherever you guys are at. But I don't know what time it is where you're at. But let me know in the comments. At least let me know you can hear me. Someone. I mean, no one's answering. So I guess maybe no one's really online yet. Let's see here. I'm just waiting on someone to say something in the comments. But either way, I'll just get into this, assuming that people are going to watch it after it goes live. So, Arizona, in terms of how it ranks against the rest of the United States, still very high. Obviously, we've encountered a lot of inflation in terms of housing prices, gas prices. Uh, it's been really disheartening to see because Arizona was a place that was really affordable for a long time. But then again, we watched Texas and Florida, which were really affordable for a long time, go upside down as well. So it's like there's no, even Montana, which used to be like dirt cheap, is now like super expensive thanks to California. Actually, California is the one driving up the prices all across the world, all across the United States, at least. But Arizona is not the only place that's experienced inflation with housing prices and cost of living. So keep that in mind. So thank you, Judy, for letting us know the time. And thank you, AZ Woods, for letting us know the time, because you guys are the real superstars who took the time to answer the question. And now I know that the live stream is working. So thank you to the 12 people who also crushed up the likes. To the other 52 of you who did nothing, thanks for watching. All right. No, seriously, thanks for watching. What is Welton? What is Welton here? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means, Steve. Anyway, it's 10:08 p.m. I was down at the JW Marriott Lounge here in Surabaya. For those of you who've ever heard of Freeport McMoran, you know that Freeport McMoran's headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona, but they have a massive mine in Irian Jaya here in Indonesia. I'm going to try and get out to West Papua and see Irian Jaya. I want to see Komodo. I want to see Raja Ampat. I want to see Sulawesi. As much of obviously, I'm going to go to Bali here soon. For those of you who follow Island Hopper TV, you already know that like our top two videos on Island Hopper TV were both Bali videos. I haven't been back there since 2022. I try to avoid the place, but I do like it. I mean, there's some things about Bali that I do enjoy and I really like. But let's talk about Arizona. So, Arizona, after having gone through the Caribbean and then coming back in through the West Coast and then going through like the Midwest of the United States a little bit, by the time I was done with that, I was like, no, I can't do it over on the East Coast. I can't do the East Coast. I gave it a go. I like Florida, but once I started going north, like towards Atlanta, North Carolina, uh, DC, Virginia, Maryland, Philly, Pittsburgh. I went all to those places. Boston, New York City. I was just overwhelmed. I was like, no, I couldn't do it. And I went there with an open heart, open mind, seeing if there was anything else on the other side. And I recently went to California and the West Coast and Vegas and all that, seeing if there was anything better than Arizona. And I just walked away from there saying, I don't think that I could really leave Arizona. Like even right now, as people say, "Oh, you're on holiday, you're traveling," um, this and that. They think I'm on a holiday, but really I'm working for Island Hopper TV making videos. But at the end of the day, I actually look forward to going back to Arizona and getting like an Airbnb in Sedona and just chilling out in the Chaparral Desert. Like that to me is happiness. Or going down to Tubac and chilling out down there in like the high desert. Low desert, not my thing. But high desert, I like high desert. I don't like ponderosa pines, but I like high desert where the juniper trees grow. So you can find me in Arizona where the juniper trees grow. Someone can write a song, you can use those lyrics. But you guys get the idea. Wherever the juniper trees are, that's kind of my vibe for Arizona, and you can find that in the low mountains around Prescott. You can find that around Mingus Mountain and Cottonwood in the Verde Valley. You can find that around Sedona, Red Rock Country. Obviously, you can find that down in southern Arizona. That's really my happy place in life. Also, Thailand islands. Being at the islands in Thailand is pretty nice, but any islands, even in Mexico, I love islands in Mexico. Just being around that beach where there's like a desert. Even when I lived in Hawaii, I lived in Kona because I like that dry arid, because I'm a desert guy at heart, right? Like that's who I am. I'm a desert guy. So Arizona's in me and it can never leave. That's just who I am. But why am I spending so much time overseas and not really in a hurry to get back to Arizona? It's mostly because of the situation going on in the United States. It's not a reflection of what's going on in Arizona. So I want to make that clear. Arizona is still, in my opinion, one of the best states to live in the country for a lot of reasons. As far as adventure goes, I mean, you just saw our recent video. We did a video, thanks to Ben, by the way. Benjamin is the editor who goes out and films all that. He's still holding down the fort back in Arizona. So he goes around and films all that. And then I narrate over it and voiceover. But he goes out, films it. Monument Valley, for those of you who've missed the Monument Valley video, for those of you who didn't see the Things to Do video, you got to go back and watch that. But even when I was making that Things to Do video, because I make Things to Do videos on Island Hopper TV. So I'm really tuned in to things to do in specific areas, specific regions. Arizona stands out as like a really, it's a jam-packed, loaded place for those of you who are adventure seekers. And we didn't even include all of the stuff because we didn't have B-roll or we didn't have footage for it. But like Aravaipa, we didn't include that. We didn't include Mount Graham. We didn't include a lot of things. We didn't even include Chiricahuas. And I mean, we made it to like 88 things to do in Arizona. We could have gone well over 100 if we have all the footage, but to get around to all of Arizona and do all the things, it's going to take like, it doesn't take a lifetime, but it takes a long time to accumulate all that footage. There's that many things to do. We didn't even include petrified forest. Okay. You guys get the idea. Arizona is a place that's just adventure seekers haven. Like it's got to be one of the best states in the country for adventure seekers. I mean, up there with Utah, California, Colorado. I mean, you could make an argument for any of those four right there as being the best. Some people would say Washington, but I'm like, no, Washington, no, because it's not a year-round. It's not a year-round place. Arizona is a year-round place where you can find excitement and things to do outdoors year-round because of the weather. I mean, it's just a fantastic place. But Utah is really special. I'm going to read some of these comments here. Hampson says, "Smash up the likes." Yes, sir. Thank you for saying that because we've already got 28 likes. Foxy Dog Itchy Paws. That's an interesting name. My goodness, how did you come up with that? Says Colorado native, but Arizona is forever in my blood. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not a Colorado native, but Arizona is in my blood. I feel it. I will say that over here in Southeast Asia right now, it's super hot. Like it's almost unbearably hot. Like they're supposed to be in rainy season or wet season, and I'm like, man, this is just there's no rain. So there is some sort of like climate change. I don't know if that's like in the stars. I'm not going to sit here and say it's necessarily man-made, but if it's supposed to be rainy season and they're not getting the rain, climate has changed. I mean, I'm not going to get too far into all the theories about what causes it because I'm not a climate scientist, but no, I know for a fact they're supposed to have rainy season in Thailand and they're not getting the rain and it's really hot. And same with Malaysia. I was just there. You guys saw my videos on Island Hopper TV, and I've got like a couple different channels that I'm promoting over there where I'm making videos. Island Hopper TV Hotels, where I make videos of like the hotels I stay at. I'm trying to get to all the Grand Hyatts and the JW Marriotts around the world. That's quite a feat if I can do it. That'll be a heck of a feat. But it's like I get these new bucket lists. I'm like, all right, let's go to the let's expand the bucket list. I've been to 89 countries or however many countries I've been to. I'm running out of things to do. I like been to a lot of places, but the cool thing is the earth is huge. There's a lot of places to go, and I'll never be able to do it all in a lifetime. But the pursuit is what I enjoy. It's the adventure. Cody says, do you see yourself moving down to Southern Arizona at some point? Probably. It's like, where would I retire? Because people always ask me, like, have you ever thought about retiring? I'm like, well, can I travel forever? Because it gets exhausting. I get like travel fatigue and all this stuff. But I've thought about where I would retire, and Southern Arizona is definitely one of those places that I would consider. What's up, SMG? What's going on, Mike Skywatcher? How the heck have you been to 90 countries? There is land and oceans beyond the ice wall. No. There's like almost 100. I don't know how many countries there are in the world, but there's over 180. You can rack up a lot of countries just going to the Caribbean, because there's like St. Kitts and Nevis, there's Barbados, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Anguilla. So I racked up a lot of countries in the Caribbean. Thanks to the 38 people who smashed up the likes. So someone said Catalina foothills. If I was to move to the Catalina foothills, it would be on the north side of the Catalinas, which is towards Oracle. That's where I see the opportunity, because I don't really want to be in the city. Like Tucson is moving into the Catalina foothills north. That area it's still very secluded, and you can still get a lot of wildlife. But if you go to the backside around where Oracle is, around Oro Valley, you'll find more serenity, and there's some real peaceful areas. And I would say if I'm going to retire, I would like 2 to 3, maybe 5 acres. I don't know. It just depends on the piece of land. Like if it's a really beautiful piece of land and it's only 1 acre, I'll probably take it. But if it's like available for 5 acres, I'll gladly take that, because I can do a lot with 5 acres, and that'll keep me pretty occupied. Because if I get a piece of land, I want to be able to develop it, and I don't want to get bored because I'm like, it's already finished. Because that's what happened with my last house in Santan Valley. Once I finished the whole project, I was kind of like, all right, what am I going to do? Because that's like what you do in retirement, right? Stay active. You don't want to just sit there and watch TV and Fox News and CNN and who knows what else people watch on the TV, because then you get out of shape and you get unhealthy. So I believe that there's no such thing as retirement. You always got to stay active. You might retire from working for the man, but you always got to stay active. You know what I'm saying? Mike Skywatcher says, Jeff, what is your opinion on New Mexico and Albuquerque compared to Arizona? I like Santa Fe, Taos, New Mexico. I also liked Silver City. We did a video on this channel about Silver City in the South. But Silver City reminds me a lot of towns you can get just in Arizona. I mean, if you're going to compare New Mexico versus Arizona, you got to look at the things that matter to you beyond just the land, because it's very comparable. So what are some things? Taxes, politics, affordability. So if you're going to compare Arizona versus New Mexico side by side, there's some things that New Mexico would win on, and there's some things that Arizona would win on, but landscape and overall like atmosphere, it's very similar. I mean, you're going to find the same kind of like chaparral, high desert kind of stuff all the way past El Paso until you get to San Antonio. So from like San Antonio to Palm Springs, it's basically the same climate all the way across the whole South. You're going to find higher. Northern Arizona has pine trees. So does northern New Mexico or central New Mexico, wherever the high mountains are. And you're going to find pine trees. It is what it is. Nancy B says, Silver City is an awesome town. We spent the weekend there on a motorcycle ride. It was super fun, and it reminds me a lot of Jerome, Arizona, or Bisbee, Arizona. Yeah, if you do plan a trip out to Silver City, you could go to the Chiricahuas in southern Arizona. You could also probably hit up Bisbee, but, it might slow you down a bit. But the Chiricahuas for sure in southeastern Arizona, amazing. You just cross the border over into Silver City, and then you just circle back through. You go through Greenlee County. You can even come back through the White Mountains and explore there. And that's a great road trip. I mean, that's the thing about Arizona. I mean, there's so much road tripping. It just depends on if you like road tripping. I love road tripping because it's awesome. And it's just great. I mean, break it up into 3 days and take your time and enjoy the scenery. You don't have to move really fast. I mean, if you go on a road trip and you move really fast, you're gonna pass a lot of things. You're not gonna enjoy it. But there's so much to see in the southeastern side. Southwest, I mean, I would say Southwest isn't really loaded with things. Neither is the Northwest. Although the Northwest has some stuff if you really want to search for it. Number one being the south rim of the Grand Canyon, the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and then going into the Grand Canyon where they have Havasupai Falls and Havasupai Creek, which is kind of closed right now. You need a permit for all that. So it's kind of defeating the purpose of even trying to go down there. But if you can do a rim to rim hike through the Grand Canyon, do the Colorado River, that could be awesome. I mean, that's an adventure. That's something on the bucket list that you can do right from the backyard. It's right in your backyard if you're living in Phoenix. Something you can do. And next time you got 3 or 5 days off, do it. He's right about Texas. Fredericksburg is nice. Texas? Yeah, Texas. I mean, West Texas has a lot of cheap property. I've seen that, and it's nice. It is nice. There was a couple towns in between El Paso and San Antonio that caught my attention. I can't remember all their names, but some of you might remember some of them. Santa Fe, New Mexico is nice, but again, I'm still leaning towards Arizona over New Mexico. But again, it could come down to tax reasons and all this stuff. But even if you factor in all that, I tend to prefer Arizona over New Mexico with that stuff as well. I'm not going to get into the politics of that because the second I dive into politics, people start getting riled up. And one thing's for dang sure, the reason I'm out of the United States, and I've kind of made a mental note of this, there's an election coming up, and I don't know how deep these people are going to go with how crazy things are going to get as we get closer to November. And at this point, I have no idea what's going on, and I'd rather just, for my mental health sake, just get out of the situation. And unfortunately for me, I dive into it every once in a while, and it stresses me out. Like I feel my heart rate go up, I feel my blood pressure go up, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm like, I almost want to take the Facebook app and just put it in the trash bin and be like, never again. I'm not looking at that app. Instagram even gets like that. YouTube's my safe place. Like YouTube is where I'll spend most of my time because YouTube, I'll tell you what, and I'm not just saying this because I make YouTube videos. YouTube like keeps my sanity and my blood pressure lower. The second I go on to Facebook, I don't know what it is about that place, but that is like not good for my health. Does anyone else feel this way? I mean, I don't know what your situation is, but it's pretty bad on there. TV, like someone said, they don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV for a long time. Like sometimes I'll be in my room and I'll be like all cozy. I'll be like, oh, I want to go to bed. I'm going to turn on the TV. The second I turn on the TV, it's like BBC or CNN. I'm like, oh gosh, why did I do that? Turn that off because of the commercials and the news. It just causes me high stress. I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm out of the country. So I'm over here in these organic places where they still have like down to earth vibes, and I love it. It's why I come out. It's why I go over here. People don't understand it because they've never really left the United States. Like I have some buddies from high school, from the military, and they see that I'm over in Indonesia or in Thailand or in Costa Rica and all these places, and they'll be like, "Man, I love your adventures. I love seeing you post stories." Like people always love my stories, even though to me, I just take it for granted. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go on an adventure tonight, so I'll just do a 3-hour adventure. I'll drink a couple beers and I'll go out on an adventure, and people tune into that because they're like, dude, that's awesome. Like they literally like are like, dude, that is awesome. Like these are friends from high school. They're like inspired to like travel also. And I'm like, all right, yeah. And I'm like, well, the reason I do it is because I'm showing you like you don't have to like sit in your house and watch CNN every night or like watch TV every night. You can actually do different things in life. So that's why I do it. Like on Island Hopper TV on my Instagram, that's where I've been posting a lot of the stories, and they just like it, and they like it on Facebook. But it's a good life. I mean, I try to stay away from stress. I try to stay away from things like, you go to a doctor, they'll be like, hey, we're going to put you on some like blood pressure medicine, some cholesterol medicine. I'm like, see, that's not the direction I'm trying to go. Because you ask the doctor how long you got to be on that stuff. They're like, for the rest of your life. I'm like, okay, there's got to be another way. It's like, how did people survive all these years without it? This is like Western medicine is like a new concept. So, I was watching this Dana White video, and he was talking about how he's not going to go to a doctor anymore because every time he goes to the doctor, they're trying to put him on some prescription for the rest of his life. I mean, and I'm like, I don't want to. That just causes me annoyance. But medicine helps. I mean, there's times when you need medicine. It's just I don't go for checkups. Checkups, no thanks. If I have an issue, I'll go. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. Nancy B says, my ex-husband has a house in Costa Rica and he lives there. He loves it in Costa Rica. He was starting to hate the United States. Look, I love the United States. Okay. I love the United States. My passport has the American seal on it. I was an American veteran. I did 8.5 years. Americans are my favorite people. I love everybody, but I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like when SHTF happens or whatever SHTF happens, I feel like my American people are where my comfort zone would be. But there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the United States. Arizona is like one of the shining bright spots out there because when I'm in the Mogollon Rim, when I'm in the Grand Canyon, when I'm in Sedona, when I'm in the Verde Valley, when I'm out in Southern Arizona, I'm in my happy place. Now, when I'm in the city, I'm not in my happy place. The city sucks. I hate traffic. I hate it. Like, oh my gosh. I'm like, get me out of here. Like, traffic is terrible. And Arizona, it's like you got a CVS, you got a tire shop, you got an oil change shop, you got a Walmart and a Target on one block, and then it's a duplication, and it's got some Burger King and like KFC mixed in, and it's a little bit of interchangeable stuff, but that's how it is. It's like cookie cutter. It is a cookie cutter place. I mean, even the homes are cookie cutter. It drives me. It's so without soul. It's without culture. It's lacking soul. Now, you can find that in small towns in Arizona. You can find that in Verde Valley and Cottonwood. You can find it in Tubac. You can find it in Sedona. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, you're not going to disagree with me. You know what I'm talking about. Those who know, you know. But Phoenix has been just sterilized. The soul has been ripped out of Phoenix Metro. There's maybe a couple areas where they have a little bit of soul and culture, but for the most part, all of the new suburbs do not have soul. But the small towns in Arizona are some of the best you'll find. And that's where I actually want to retire. I think places that come to mind, Pine, Strawberry, Tubac, obviously, I keep championing that. Portal, Chiricahuas, Prescott, even around Prescott, north of Prescott, Chino Valley, around Phoenix Metro, Wickenburg, Cave Creek, Carefree. I'm worried it's going to get built up. Payson. I love when you guys comment your favorites. Like this guy, 10 Toes Down MMA. He knows what's up. Because that's why he's talking. Someone says they love Florence. Florence is cool. I like the history with Florence because of the Gila River and how it used to run. I just wish that river ran. Like I'm one of those guys that would say, just break the dam and let the Gila run again. I really get fascinated by things like learning about how the four rivers converged in Buckeye, which the four rivers being the Agua Fria, the Salt River, the Verde River, the Gila River. They all kind of came together in Buckeye. Obviously, the Verde meets out there by the Salt River, but the point is that all of that river met in Buckeye, and then it went down past Gila Bend and into the Colorado, which made the fifth river, and then it would go into the Sea of Cortez. So you're talking about a lot of watersheds going in there, and it just makes me wonder, like I had a dream. I've told you guys this. I had a dream that you could take a steam river boat down to the Sea of Cortez from Phoenix. I don't know why I would have had that dream. This was before I even knew that all the rivers used to run all the way down into the Colorado. And it would happen if you broke the dams. Like May, You could probably take a steamboat without any dams down to the Colorado River, but you'd have to break the dams, the SRP and the CRP, and that's not going to happen. Central Arizona Project, it's not going to happen. 10 Toes Down says, what do you think about Crown King? I love Crown King, but could I live up there? No, because it's too far away from. I mean, if I was done with airports and I was done with travel, sure, Crown King's cool. It's good. It's a bit rugged up there. I mean, it's a rugged countryside. You know, you got mosquitoes, you got bugs, you got a lot of stuff up in Crown King. It's a rough life. I mean, the road getting up there on the Bumblebee is quite nasty. You go out there on the Senator Highway beyond Crown King on the way up to Prescott. That's a 2.5 hour ride, and it's not very many miles. It's maybe like 30 to 40 miles, but it feels like it takes forever. And that's because you're going over this road that's just super rugged. There's oftentimes you'll be the only one out there. Okay. And that's cool for some of you. You're like, what? Where's this place? Let me get a pen and paper out. You said Senator Highway, past Crown King, on the way to Prescott. Yeah, I just said that. Go do it. That's a heck of a trek. Go do it. I've done that road trip a couple times. My dad used to take us out. If you wanted the back road, like a little bit easier route, you could go just before. I think it's what Heber Overguard. Oh man, I got to get the map out again. Let me get this map out again. I'll tell you the exact name of where that road, where you can kind of cut it in half and save yourself some time. But I would say if you really wanted to get about it and you wanted to live it up, you got to go from basically from Phoenix through Crown King. If you really want to do it. Yeah, Dewey Humboldt. Or maybe around Mayer you could do it, but I think it's Dewey Humboldt. You could kind of cut in there, and that's off you go to Cordes Junction, I-17, you get on the 69 out towards Prescott. You can get off there and go up into the Prescott National Forest. And I mean, go out towards Palace Station if you want, Mount Union. I mean, it's raw countryside, raw. When I say raw, you'll see when you get out there. And tell you what, if you guys go out there, let me know. I made a video on this channel. You can watch it. Go to the off-roading channel or go to the off-roading playlist and watch the one where we went out to Crown King on the Senator Highway. There you go. 10 Toes Down. People's Valley isn't too bad either. I think it's a sleeper. People's Valley, I mean, you know, where the fireman got killed in Yarnell, they call it Skull Valley. It's not because of the firemen, but I mean, it's one of those areas. There's certain areas in Arizona where people say you give them the heebie-jeebies or whatever. Just like kind of like what you would call almost haunted forest, haunted desert, haunted landscape, whatever you want to call it. But you know, why do they call it Skull Valley? And then Skull Valley, just up the road from Skull Valley, they had the Yarnell 13 or Yarnell 15, the firefighters who got killed in that 2013 or 2014 mega fire when the winds changed direction on them. You guys have seen that movie on Netflix. But why did they call it Skull Valley before? I mean, you know, it's and you drive out there and you can tell it's like it's a bit haunted. You know, there's parts of Arizona where you just kind of get the chills on the back of your neck, and you know, in the daytime it's a whole different vibe, but when you're out there at night, I always tell people, like, you never know an area until you go out there at night and you walk around. So if you're one of those types of people who wants to buy land in like these like super remote, isolated areas, that's great. In the daytime, you go out there, you could see everything and everything's all hunky-dory. Go out there at night. Listen to the noises that are around you and see if you're going to be okay with that. You think I'm joking? Go do it. Let's see if you're really ready to live out there. And if you go out there and you do it, then you're ready to move out there and you're ready to buy that piece of land. But you don't know a place until you walk around at night. Okay? Trust me. SMG says Bloody Basin, Massacre Grounds. Yeah, Bloody Basin. I mean, you go out in the back road off I-17, you go east out towards kind of like the Verde River off of Bloody Basin. I mean, the name itself makes you wonder. But in the summertime, like right now, there is mosquitoes out there like you wouldn't believe. mosquitoes, cactus, dust, dirt. You get a flat tire, no cell phone signal. That's Arizona. Those of you who know, you know, that's Arizona. It makes you wonder, like, who were the people who came out here as pioneers? Who were the people who came out here in the Wild West? This is what they went through. And the people who went through that, of course, they were tough knuckle people, man. You couldn't mess with them. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday. I mean, these were people that no modern man could even stand up to. I mean, even if you look at all the diseases they dealt with, they were alcoholics for a reason, because they were trying to cure things like scurvy and tuberculosis and all these bacterial and viral infections that they would come across by coming over here. I mean, the hantavirus. You guys know what the hantavirus is, do you, or do you not? This was a big thing back in the 90s, where they were saying that rat poop was making people have a respiratory illness. We also have valley fever. I mean, these are things that are under control by modern medicine. But back in the 1900s in the Wild West, these are things that people were coming across. And grandpa's old cough medicine, whiskey, all these different things, tequila, these were things that they were drinking consistently. They were drunk and trying to cure disease because they were constantly under siege by all these things. Because that's what Arizona is at its core. It's a very rugged and rough place. A lot of places are very rugged and rough, but Arizona in particular, it's hot. It's hot in the summers and cold in the winters. Very rugged. Stacy says, Hackberry, Arizona. What do you think? Buying land there to build. I'm not familiar with Hackberry. Where's it nearby? What's the closest place? What's up, Charlie? The road to Bumblebee is good for getting a flat tire. It is good for getting a flat tire. Hopefully you bring a spare tire up there. I mean, I haven't had a flat tire up there, but I'm not looking to get one. So, yeah, you don't have cell phone signal up there. So you get a flat tire and you don't have a backup tire. You're basically relying on the next car that drives by and you're hoping they stop. That's what happens when you're out there in that backwood. I wouldn't call it backwoods, the sticks. It's the sticks. That's what it is. And that's all over Arizona. You can find the sticks all over Arizona. Bumblebee and Crown King is one of those places. I don't know who got me on that Bumblebee rant, but there you go. We'll leave it there. I'm ready to leave Phoenix for sure. This place is nuts. Really? Dirk, why you want to leave Phoenix? What the people who live in Phoenix, the people who live in Arizona, are you happy or are you not happy? I want to get this consensus poll off you guys, the live stream viewers right here, right now. Let's settle this. Thanks to 77 people who smashed up the likes. If we can get it up to 100 likes, I'll keep going. Like I said, I'm in Indonesia right now, sharing my thoughts about how I feel about Arizona while I'm over here. I'm making videos for Island Hopper TV. For those of you who are following Island Hopper TV travel highlights, the behind the scenes channel, you've seen my Yogyakarta, Surabaya is coming next, Jakarta videos. Obviously, I've done a lot of videos across Southeast Asia, but I'm reflecting on how much I miss home, and that's why I've made this video. We have our cameraman, Ben, who makes all the videos back home and helps keep the channel going, and he's our local correspondent. Evander says, I'm happy, but there is no character. There is no character. It lacks soul. I mean, but that's all across the United States in the big cities. The big cities, even around the world, the soul is being ripped out of cities all around the world, and they're being replaced with these 4-lane highways, 3-lane highways, whatever they are, concrete, just straight lines. They just love straight lines. Like, if you ever walk in a straight line for a long time, you start to get this, like, not a vertigo, you start to get this weird feeling. I had to Google it because I was noticing that when I'd be walking in these areas where they have like just straight lines, I get this like weird feeling in my eyes. I don't know what it is. I actually like things around me a little bit, not like to a point where it's making me claustrophobic, but when you go on this straight line and you're walking, it's just like in these mega malls, even the lights, the fake lights, the LED lights. Like I like real light. Moonlight's the best, but the LED lights actually hurt my eyes now. That's why I have to wear these blue light lenses between looking at computer screens, looking at my cell phone. It's a big thing. It's a 10 toes down says, crush up the likes, y'all. Thank you. Yeah, we got 92. So we went from 77 to 93 because people just keep smashing up those likes. Thank you so much. Foxy Dog Itchy Paws. Chris, just have a pool. More importantly, know how to repair a cooler. Yeah, I mean, if you live in Arizona, you kind of need a pool and you need to know how to repair some sort of cooler, whether it's an air conditioner, a water cooler. Back when I was a kid, we used to use a swamp cooler. And you'd have a hose just kind of trickling in, and it would only cool like one part of the house. It wouldn't cool the whole house. And it was always in my parents' room, the swamp cooler, which is funny because there's no swamp in Arizona. So I'm kind of like, are you sure we're dealing with the swamp cooler here? Or what is this? Either way, they call it a swamp cooler. JT says traumatic brain injury. Are you talking to me? I don't know. Is that what could have caused it? Maybe. Maybe I have one. Are you talking to me? I don't know. Is that what causes light sensitivity like that? I've looked it up. I've done blood tests and all this stuff, eye tests and all that, and everything seems to. They always say, "Oh, you got 20/20 vision, and you're healthy, and test me for." I'm like, test me for everything, like do food sensitivity, do supplement sensitivity. The only thing that came back was B12 something, B12 deficiency. And that's what's weird about it is because I eat a lot of meat because supposedly that's where B12 comes from. So who knows? Let's see here. Hackberry, Arizona is about 30 minutes away from Kingman. Buying land in Hackberry. See, I'm not familiar with northwestern Arizona too much. There's one part of Arizona I haven't really explored too much. It depends which way of Kingman. Is it towards the east or towards the west? Is it towards the Colorado or is it towards Flagstaff? It's going to get hotter the closer you are to the Colorado. Baja Girl says, I'm not in Arizona right now, going back in the fall. I can't stand the dust and the dryness in the Valley Apache Junction. My home is on wheels, so I go where I want to. You're living it. You're doing exactly what you should be doing. Shout out to you. 110 people now have smashed up the likes. Thank you, everyone. And we got a very chatty community right now. You guys are just dropping so many awesome comments. You guys should read the comments. I don't know if you're watching this live. Just check out the chat. I mean, look at all those people who are chiming in, sharing their opinions and their feelings and their thoughts about Arizona. It's really important because that's what a community is all about, communication. And if you don't have communication, you don't have a community, I guess. I mean, that's something you could say, right? But yeah, I mean, that's the life. You're in Arizona 8 months out of the year and you're gone the rest of the 4 months living in cooler places like, I don't know, Idaho, Colorado. I mean, where are you at right now? That would be the next question that I would have. Shasta Fogg says, leaving Mesa for family in northern Georgia. Georgia. Atlanta, I'd pass on. Georgia, I guess that's interesting, especially as you get towards Tennessee. Certainly beautiful up there. Tennessee has become one of the most famous, beautiful places people are trying to move to. Chattanooga, you got the Chattahoochee for all those you guys who watch Alan Jackson down there on the Chattahoochee. Let's see here. Chatty Cathy's today is great, says Michelle. Yes, we got some chatty people going. Yeah, I mean, someone said if you like humidity, that's the first thing that comes into mind when you think about Georgia. Georgia's like, does Georgia even have a good season? Like, do they ever get like good weather? Because it's either cold. Like I was just in Atlanta, maybe like 4 months ago, before I went to Washington, D.C., and it was cold in April. And I was like, well, the other side of the coin is it's going to be hot and humid. So I was like, I guess they get like 3 weeks of good weather in Atlanta? No, thanks. That's not enough for me. That's just not enough. Let's see, Baja Girls. The frequencies of LED are not good for us. The glasses will help. Natural sunlight is best for you. Let's bring back iridescent lights. I agree. I 100% agree. Like these modern malls, these lobbies, they're in love with LED lights. I'm like, do you people really like LED lights? You go into Walmart and you go to Target, that lighting in there is just, it causes me stress. I almost don't want to shop there because of the lighting. I'm like, you fix the lighting and we're good. I mean, I go into some airports, they use dim lighting and I love it. I'm like, hey, I could spend a long time in here. But the second they bring on that bright light, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. It makes me feel irritated. And I don't know how they got into this position of thinking that like really bright lights. They must have done some study that says like if you make it really bright in here, people will buy more. No, now I don't even want to shop there, so I'm not buying anything. I'm like, okay, maybe God's trying to send me a message and say, stay away. I don't know what's going on. Experiment says, why not talk about the shortage of houses because of big business houses are too expensive because, okay, I mean, going into the politics of why, or going into the concept of why there's a shortage of housing. I don't have enough information on it. Share some information on it about what you think is going on. I mean, what are you going to say? BlackRock is buying all the houses, and then they're buying the homes, and then they're going to try and rent them out to you because they're operating under Agenda 21, and you'll be happy and own nothing. Is that the direction you're going with it? Because as of right now, I don't want to own anything, and I don't. I like, as someone who travels, I'm basically like, I've owned 3 or 4 houses in my life. When I say 3 or 4, I guess it's 3. Yeah, 3 houses. I've owned 3 houses. I felt like it was 4 because I thought I was going to try and do something else, but I don't really want to own a house anymore. It ties me down. Like I was talking to my buddy in Arizona. He wants to go travel like me, and he was like, I have too many things attaching me to my life out here. And I was like, yeah, dude, I know the feeling. I was there too, man. I was like, but slowly but surely, you got to like cut ties with all of that stuff. Like, I know you love your couch because it reclines and it's got like buttons and everything. You paid $1,500 for it. And you love it. But I think you're going to be okay if you part ways with it. I know you love your car and I know you love your truck, but there's more to life than material possessions. Because if it's possessing you, because it's a possession, I think you're going to be okay if you cut ties with it. And that includes a house. I mean, especially a cookie cutter house. Now, if it was like a custom house that I built in, I don't know, a place like Rimrock or Tubac or something on a piece of property, I'd probably be in love with it. But these cookie cutter houses that are in Mesa and Gilbert and Queen Creek, and they all look the same. And, they got a small backyard with some artificial turf and some kitchen that, with the drywall and the stucco on the outside. I don't think I need to like fall in love with that. Like I'm not married to that. I'll live there because it works and it's functional and it's cool, but no thanks. Now, if you're talking about like a custom made house, old school style in Arcadia or in some small town, heck yeah, I might be in love with that because that's my house, not these cookie cutters. Heck no. And we're all living in cookie cutters in Phoenix. I mean, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Katie did said no shortage, too expensive. Houses are no longer flying off the shelf. Yeah, I mean, there's houses out there. I don't know how many houses are on the market. I haven't asked for like a real estate report, like the reason I don't really make real estate videos anymore, because we used to track the market on this channel with real estate. Is the economy, is the housing market going to go up or down? But there hasn't been any real action or real need to talk about it because it's just kind of been stagnant. It's kind of like stagnantly going lower. It's slowly going lower or staying the same. Some people say it's going up. Sure. I mean, it's kind of like this right now. It's boring. But in 2020, 2021, the market kept going up. And then in 2021, 2022, it peaked and then started going back down again. That was where there was some like things to talk about. But for the last 2 years, it's just kind of been like a little bit too high. Most people are like, I can't really justify paying Hawaii prices or California prices for a home in Scottsdale or a home in Gilbert that should be maybe 350,000 selling for 550,000. That's how people feel about it. That's really what it is. And then the interest rates are ridiculously high. And, real estate agents will always tell you a whole bunch of stuff. They always say, oh, well, if you wait another year, you're only saving yourself $50 a month or something like that. And I'm just like, Yeah, dude, I get it. You're trying to stay alive. You're trying to support your family with buying or selling houses and stuff. But the truth is, the market's stagnant, and and it could go up. Hopefully, it does. I own a house. I'm renting it out in Mesa. It's being rented out. Housing's going up so fast, the land hasn't had time to settle. Foundations are cracking. Oh yeah, no, that I mean, I bought a new house in Santan Valley. I mean, within like 6 months, it had a crack across the roof. But again, it was under warranty. The floor had a big crack in the concrete in the garage. It had a big crack in the concrete under the living room. You know, when it's under warranty, they'll come in and then for like 2 or 3 days, your whole house is a disaster because the warranty is going to come in and fix your house. But like you were saying, the settlement, the foundation hasn't settled. Uh, it is what it is. They're just building these houses. They're throwing them up. They're like toothpick homes. I mean, if you ever go out to one of these new build communities, you'll see how they build it. They put in the electric, they put in the pipes, and then they put in the concrete slab, and then they put in some 2x4s all around the house, the framing, and then they kind of frame it. They put the roof on, and then they put some more wiring in there, and then they put the drywall, and then they put the exterior, and then they put the stucco on, and then they paint it, and then they paint the inside, and then they put the fixtures in the final stuff in there, and they build that house in like 2 to 3 months. And you know, you go into these job sites and you see who's building it, and you see how it's built, and you're kind of like, oh, how long is this house going to really last? I mean, is it going to last 100 years? What's going to happen in 100 years with this house? What's going to happen in 50 years with this house? Does anybody know? And the only thing I can think of is the people who are building these houses the way that they are building these, the with the construction. I'm sure they've tested it for longevity, but they're probably like, well, in 100 years, I'm not going to be around anymore. So that's going to be someone else's problem. They can deal with it. And, you know, it'll be someone else's problem. That's how these builders, Pulte, you know, Taylor Morrison, all these guys, that's how they look at it. Katie did says throwing up houses like 2005 and 2006, they were crap. Yeah, I mean, the house I live in was built in 2007, maybe. And oh my gosh, man, it's been a money pit trying to fix that thing up, whether it be the air conditioning, the sinks, the piping, this idea that there could be mold. I mean, it's like, you know, it becomes like you start to question whether or not it's even worth it to own a house. And then you look at it like, okay, maybe I'll play the long game, because the long game for owning a house usually pays off, but you got to play the long game. If you're playing the short game with owning a house, well, so make sure you're in an area you can see yourself living for at least 10 years, because with inflation, it's gonna end up catching up anyway. J Drive says, anybody remember the real estate story? Children about one buyer investing straw construction, another in wood frame, and one forked up the cash for masonry. Story is still true. Yeah. Whoa, little Danny did a $9.99 super chat. So everybody stand back, stand down. Everybody listen up. Little Danny put in $10 into this kitty here. He did $9.99. He didn't even do $10 flat. So let's see. Being in Arizona since 2021, some of the only cons I have truly come up with is the heat and the population and the traffic. I would say cost, but it's expensive everywhere when you crunch the numbers. Yeah, I mean, no matter where you go, you're going to come across high cost of living pretty much everywhere. So yeah, I agree with everything you said, and you've been here since 2021, so you've seen things. Obviously, it's not the way that it was in 2018. I mean, 2018 was different than 2021. 2021 is different than 2024. I mean, even if you go back to 2008, it was a totally different situation. If you go back to the 90s in Arizona, I mean, that whole Arizona is gone. Or Phoenix. If you look at the 90s in Phoenix, that was the heydays for me. That was the Arizona that I fell in love with. The 1990s in Phoenix was the good old days for me. Cost of living in the Midwest can be less because of the pay. Okay. Vegas and Phoenix have become overpopulated very quickly. Yeah, I mean, where are they going to get all the water from? You know, that's the thing, right? Thanks to 185 people who smashed up the likes. Hit the like button, and I'll keep going if we can get it to over 200 likes. Let's see how fast we can do it. If not, then I guess we don't have enough momentum to keep moving. But let's see if we can get this 185 over to 200 likes. Let's pump it. Stucco and styrofoam. Yeah, that's basically the houses. I mean, you could throw some wood in there too. Stucco, styrofoam, cement, wood. That's like the four elements of a Phoenix home. Maybe some insulation. What else? And copper, because the wiring is copper. All right. At the end of the day, it's heaven here, at least in Phoenix Metro. 9 months out of the year, I'd take 9 months of 9 months of snow and ice in other parts of the country. Oh, you take that over the 9 months of snow. Yeah, I mean, where are you going to find 9 months of snow though? There's no place that has 9 months really, unless you're in like Boston. And no, Boston's no. Just saying the desert isn't meant for that many people sucking off the land. I mean, this whole idea of how much the desert can handle. Go to a place like Amman, Jordan. You think Arizona's in a bad situation? Amman, Jordan has like 10 million people and way less tributaries, way less water, and they don't even have a water shortage over in Amman. I mean, they have a water shortage. Go to Cairo, Egypt. They just have the Nile River. That's it. Go to Dubai. I mean, Arizona, this idea that the desert climates can't handle water, Arizona's in a lot better situation than Dubai, than Amman, Jordan, former Philadelphia. That's what it used to be called in Amman. I mean, there's a Cairo, Egypt. I mean, there's a lot of Cairo's got like over 30 million people. Phoenix is pushing 5 million. Okay. And Phoenix has way more water than those places. Seriously. So, I mean, you'd be surprised at how much these places can sustain. And I mean, even the Ho'okam were able to sustain Arizona with the canal systems for many years. You'd be surprised. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I know that that's a legitimate argument. I mean, I think Lake Powell just reached its highest water level in years. I think like all of the Arizona reservoirs are at like maximum capacity. At least that's what I read recently. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have times where you're going to have low water levels and high water levels, but this idea that Arizona or Phoenix can't really handle, or desert climates can't handle large populations, you might want to check the stats on that and review some places that are like 5 times larger than Phoenix, and you'll see that like no, Phoenix isn't close to maximum capacity, and that's not an excuse to continue to pave the desert because I hate paving the desert. But I'm just saying, like, that argument, it doesn't check out. Even the federal government's done a study on it. Arizona State has done a study on it. Arizona University has done a study on it. Of course, there's always the risk of drought, but nowadays they're just doing cloud seeding. So if they ever come across a situation where they don't have enough rain, they just fly over, seed the cloud, and drop some rain. That's what they're doing in Dubai. Last time I was in Dubai in November, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. My phone was getting a emergency alert for weather warning, and next thing I know, right after that, I heard this massive lightning strike, like thunder, like you hear during a monsoon in Phoenix. And I woke up I just woke up. I went out in town, and there was flooding all over Dubai because Dubai doesn't have any drains. How do they do that? Because they're seeding the clouds. Phoenix seeding the clouds. There was a video I saw of Palos Verdes nuclear power plant pumping some like weird steam up in the air. Some guy, he was driving down I-10. He pulled over to Palos Verdes. Some of you might have saw it on TikTok or Instagram. Some guy pulls over the side of the road and he sees Palos Verdes just pumping this like stuff into the sky, nuclear power plant. And it was the cloud seeding. I think that's what it was. Weather modification. You'd be surprised, guys. I mean, I know a lot of you guys don't know about it, but you do some research, you'll realize they've got a lot of technologies that can prevent drought and mostly drought related incidents. You'd be surprised. And a lot of the authorities and people have thought about this in great detail. And Phoenix is not a place that's the whole running out of water thing is it's a good excuse to say don't move here, we're running out of water. Like, it's good for that, but when it comes down to brass tacks and reality, Phoenix has got enough water. Just go up to Swirl Lake, Canyon Lake, Roosevelt Lake, Lake Powell, Lake Mead right now, the whole thing, Lake Pleasant, Coolidge Dam. Jeez, come on. Anyone who goes around knows. You guys go around Arizona, go up to the reservoirs. You'll see if the water level is really that low. No, come on, challenge it. I'm waiting for someone to call to say that it's not true, because they can't. They can't say it's not true. It's like, go up to Sorrel Lake right now in Canyon Lake. Tell me what the water level is. What do I like about Yuma? Oh, no. What do I like about Yuma? It's close to Mexico. Well, and the reason I like the fact that it's close to Mexico is because I can go to Sea Cortez, which is like one of the most beautiful, biodiverse places in the world. I mean, there's so much biodiversity going down the Baja. And, Baja to me is like Phoenix with an ocean. And if you were to stretch the Baja out like long wise, I mean, that's a ton of oceanfront property going from the Sea Cortez side on the inland to the outside along the Pacific. I just wish it was a little bit safer, and I'd go all around it in an RV and feel totally content, because there's no modern entity. It's all just like down to earth, like good vibes. I mean, I love Mexican culture. I love the food. I love just the feeling of being there. I don't like the crime or anything. Like, I don't like any dangerous place. So, I mean, if I'm not saying it's dangerous, but I'm saying, like, obviously I don't want to, like, encounter any sort of problems with corruption or anything, but you get the idea. Someone said, didn't your dad monitor water levels? Yeah, he used to read rain gauges up at Desert Mountain. I used to go around them and read rain gauges. But he also worked at a water treatment plant, where, if you've ever been in a water treatment plant, it's a bunch of sewage water that's basically recycled water that ends up going into the golf courses. So they use recycled water to feed the grass. And I used to have a job working at this golf course called Rancho Manana, and I would use that recycled water and spray the mist on the bent grass greens at Rancho Manana 3 times a day. And the water stunk horribly. I have no idea what kind of side effect I could have gotten from that, but the water stunk horribly. You were not supposed to drink it. I don't even know if you were supposed to touch it, but obviously, as you're spraying the grass, it's spraying in your face and everything. Whatever. What does my dad say about the water situation? Well, as someone who's about as Arizona as it gets, he's also a little bit of a fear monger. He buys into some things. I'd say he probably changes his opinion on it based on what he hears on the news. But if the news is saying we're in a drought, he'll probably be like that. And then if he'll probably be like, oh, we got a water crisis. But if it's getting a lot of rain, he'll be like, oh, we're getting a lot of rain this year. That's like how he talks. We're getting a lot of rain this year. So he doesn't really get in. He don't know. He don't know. Yeah, he doesn't know. Let's see here. Since we have a broken border, STDs are an all-time high. Is that a thing? Experiment? I don't know. That's an interesting comment to make on the news feed here. He just comes out left field. He's like, here, let me just say, since we have an open border, here's what's a problem that we have. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, they said at Arizona State University was all like a party school, so it was like ranked high for that. It is what it is. The big risk with reclaimed water is pathogens, not usually toxins. So you didn't pick up chronic diarrhea, then you're okay. No, I didn't pick up any of that. Yeah, I mean, it stays the same. You still don't want to drink that water, and you don't want to fish in those golf course lakes eating the carp. I would say that would be a good idea not to do that. Kyle says, just join. Why is it time to leave Arizona? No, it's not time to leave Arizona. I was saying that people are asking the question, like, should they leave Arizona? Am I thinking about leaving Arizona? And just in case you're just tuning in here, my final consensus was I felt like after going across Arizona that the problem is, or going across the United States, the problem is in the United States. The problem is a mind sickness in the United States. And Arizona is inside the United States, so it's being impacted by the overall psychiatric state of the United States. And I'll tell you, I mean, I go around the world, like, I'm kind of embarrassed to say I'm from the United States. People always ask me, where are you from? Where are you from? I'm like, United States, USA. And I just feel like they're like, oh, because we have horrible like the publicity that we get is not good around the world. They only see the worst of us. They see our president can barely speak, he can barely walk. They see the candidates that are going up against him say crazy things. The people that are running for the country, you know, and they only see the gaffes. They only see the highlights of the negative stuff. They don't see any of the positive stuff. So the good stuff doesn't even make the news. The mass shootings, so they think that we're always like have a gun problem. They think we have a drug problem. I mean, they see videos of Philadelphia, like Kensington Road, and Los Angeles and Skid Row, and they see those videos, and they see like people breaking and entering into like Apple stores and malls, and those are the things that get 8 million views. It's not the thing that like it's not like the guy who, like, I don't know, saves the day. That's not the thing that gets 8 million views typically. It's usually the negative stuff. Even on this channel, like if we make a video about negative things, it gets like way more views than if we say, hey, Arizona's amazing. If I make a video and say Arizona's amazing, it'll get like 5,000 views or 15,000 views or 25,000 views. But if I say Arizona's dangerous, it'll get like 300,000 views. Our number one video on the whole channel is reasons people are leaving Arizona. You know, and I mean, if you look at the ratio of like positive to negative videos that we've done, it's like 85% to 15%. Most of the content's positive, but 15% is negative, and the 15% makes up a lot of the volume of views. So I don't know what that tells you about the psychiatry or the psychological state of the country or the psychological state of Arizona or the people or the whatever it is. It probably explains why CNN and the news is always harping on the negative. It seems like that's how they get the clicks. I think there was a saying, if it bleeds, it leads. So if there's, you know, that's the things that you guys want to talk about. Trump almost got assassinated, takes over the whole news cycle for the next few days. Trump, you know, that's like the most popular thing that happened in the country in the last year. Like as far as news clicks go, that was like a big story. So it is what it is. And, you know, people will blame the algorithm, but the algorithm is just a reflection of what the masses are telling it to do. The algorithm responds to the masses. If you, the masses, told it to do something else, it would do that. And yeah, the algorithm could be programming. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you could make that argument that that's the whole reason why people are so negative. What do I think about the Gilbert Goons? How do you fix this problem? The Gilbert Goons, I mean, there was a kid who was killed, right? And then there was like some gang. I would say Gilbert is like not a dangerous place. Compare it to, I don't know, Glendale or even Mesa or something. It seems like those places have more problems than Gilbert. I would say the Gilbert Goons, I have no idea why that became like such a big thing or how that became a big thing or how kids got involved in it, or if it's even as big of a risk or a danger as they've been saying it is. Thanks to 188 people who liked the video. We still haven't gotten to 200 likes. We need to get to 200 likes. The algorithm keeps pushing into it, ads on me, but I hate QuickBooks. So why do you hate QuickBooks? Like, I use QuickBooks. It's actually a good thing. It's saved me a little bit of money, I think, although I have to pay like $35 a month for it. Kyle says, I agree. I got several buddies who moved out of California to different states. 3 or 4 years later, they're trying to find an even better state. It's not state issues at this point. It's the country. Yeah, there's no place in the country that you can go to get away from it. The only way you can really get away from it, I guess, would be going into a small town. And you can find the best small towns in Arizona. I mean, you're not going to find better small towns than in Arizona. So you don't necessarily have to leave Arizona. You might have to get out of Tucson. You might have to get out of Phoenix if you're feeling like, hey, I need to get out of that place. But like, you don't have to go to some other place outside Arizona. And I'm not saying that to retain you or anything, because I don't, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not the governor. I'm not I don't work for the Board of Tourism in Arizona. All they should call me if you want me to. You know, I've worked in tourism, but they still never called me. I mean, we've gotten millions of views for things to do in Arizona. Whoever's paying the bills for the Board of Arizona, I feel like they should call us. But either way, I don't work for them, so I have no incentive to retain people. But I would say, like, honestly speaking, like, where I want to retire is small towns in Arizona. I mean, I've told you a few of them on this live stream. I mean, we're gonna make another small town Arizona video for you guys. You know, it's coming. Booze Crew says, I love this page. I currently live in Missouri and cannot wait to leave. My grandparents moved to Prescott Valley in 2004. I will always have love for Arizona. Nice. That's good. Someone said Prescott. Where does everyone live here? Let me know in the comments where you guys are living so I know where everyone's tuning in from. Prescott is a nice small town. I wouldn't call Prescott a small town at this point. No. Prescott's a small city. It's a small city. It's not a small town. It's a big town, small city. And if it gets any bigger, it might lose its touch. All right, so everyone's tuning in here. They're letting me know they're in Peoria, Prescott Valley, Northwest Peoria, Hawaii, Zurich, Switzerland. Gotta love Switzerland. International Falls, Minnesota, Goodyear, Gilbert, Arizona. Little Danny says, I'm over here down the road from Westgate. That's in Glendale. Branson, but headed back to Arizona in the fall. Branson, Missouri, right? Mesa, Cave Creek in the house. Mesa, Ventura, California, Charleston, South Carolina, New Mexico, New Jersey, Scottsdale, Prescott, Arizona. Standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona. You must have saw a fine sight to see when you got there, didn't you? Just kidding. It's not really a fine sight to see when you get down to Winslow. Not anymore, at least. Maybe back in the days when Route 66 was the thing. Downtown Tempe, Surprise, Arizona, Tucson, Bay Area, Anthem, Sholo. Sholo's a great place to be. His name is Old Farts Coffee Club. What do you got, a coffee club named Old Farts? Hey, I don't know who he is, but I'm going to give him a free shout out just because he's got a funny name. And he's out in Sholo. You guys should hit him up. Maybe he's got some information for you. The spirit just spoke to me and told me, hit that guy up. Phoenix, Ahwatukee, Fort Alaska. Man, Alaska's got some wide open land. I just don't know if I could do a winter over there. Winters in Arizona, summers in Alaska. That sounds like a good deal. Cholo, Arizona. Nice. I've never heard of that place. Would you live in Jerome? No, I would not. I would live down in the valley area around like maybe Tuzagut or down there, Cornville. Would I live there? No, I don't think. I'd live in like North Cottonwood. That whole area is just right there at the base of the Mogollon Rim. I would go east of there. From Jerome, I would look east. Obviously, you're going to come across Sedona, and then beyond that, some beautiful places. Wet Beaver Creek. Oh, my goodness, some great hiking out there. Would I live in Prescott? I'd consider it. Right now, I kind of need to be near a big airport. Prescott's airport did just get approved for a large upgrade. I like the fact that the Mesa Gateway International Airport got approved. I think they're expanding the Mesa Gateway Airport. They're doing some nice expansions over there. Sky Harbor is just too busy at this point. I don't like going into Terminal 3. I don't like flying on American Airlines. Or wait, Terminal 3 or Terminal 2? No, I don't like Terminal 2. Wherever American Airlines is at Sky Harbor, no. I don't like it. Sky Harbor is a good airport compared to most places, but you get crammed in there at those gates, and it's just like shoulder-to-shoulder people. You can't even find a seat. Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon trying to find a seat. Wherever American Airlines is, that Terminal 2 or Terminal 3? Terminal 3, I think, is where United, Delta, Air Canada. I like that. That's a good terminal. Didn't they just get approved to build like Terminal 4 or something? They're going to build like a new terminal at Sky Harbor. I don't know. But I know they're expanding Mesa. The problem is they only have small airlines like Sun Country and Allegiant that fly out of there. And you can't really get to like a major hub. Like for me, I like to go to Asia. I like to go to Europe. I like to go to Australia. I like to go Africa or all these places, right? I need to be able to get easy access to like SFO, LAX, Yeah, basically SFO or LAX. I prefer SFO over LAX though. But from LA or even Vancouver, actually my favorite West Coast destination to cross the Pacific is probably Vancouver. That's my favorite airport if I'm trying to cross the Pacific. Like I'll fly from Phoenix to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver to Manila or Taipei or Hong Kong. Yeah, SFO is a good airport. So is like I'm not a big fan of SeaTac, Seattle. No. So my favorite West Coast airports: Seattle. No, not Seattle. Vancouver, SFO. I do like San Diego. I guess San Diego's building a new terminal concourse. I think it's going to be more international. So maybe San Diego will replace all of those. LAX on a last ditch option. I try to avoid LAX actually. East Coast. Man, you're kind of stuck with JFK. I'd like to do Dulles though. I think Dulles. Atlanta, no. I'm just going to make a point of staying away from Atlanta. SeaTac is horrible. Oh my gosh. Whoever designed Sky Harbor to pick up and drop off was on drugs. Oh yeah, man. I know what you're talking about, man. Oh my gosh. That's the funniest comment of the day. That is hilarious. Who said that? Shine like a pro, AZ. Definitely shining with that comment. That was a good one. That made me literally laugh. South Texas Nuclear Google, if you don't know, the largest nuclear power plant in the USA. Well, so I'm a big fan of nuclear energy, clean, it's efficient, it's super powerful. I think we need to replace the whole grid with nuclear. And I live in Arizona where we have Ranchos Palo Verdes nuclear power plant, super efficient. It's one of the reasons why you never really hear about problems with Arizona's electrical grid like you hear in Texas or you hear in other parts of the country because we're running off nuclear. And that nuclear power plant is quite old, but the new technology they have for nuclear, I don't know the exact name for it, but the new nuclear technology is superior. Bill Gates is in on it, which is kind of a red flag. I'm not going to get too far into that, but I mean, he's pushing nuclear, but I'm okay with that. I would say he'd be better off going in that direction as of right now with the nuclear, because when he goes into the other stuff, I kind of get concerned. Chris says, I stayed at the Copper Queen Hotel in Bisbee years ago, and I had a scary encounter with Julia. The ghost scared the hell out of me. Oh, really? I don't know if you're hearing things, seeing things, or if you're being like literally serious. You had an encounter of the third kind. That's wild. Wow. I've gone around the Sky Harbor like 8 times before almost told my family member to get an Uber. Oh yeah. I mean, if an Uber or if your family member misses you at Sky Harbor, if they miss you, if they drive past you, they can't reverse, right? So they've got to basically drive all the way back around. That's what they're talking about, which makes that just ridiculous. Like you can't just pull off to the side. There's no like cell phone parking or anything there. There used to be, not anymore. Now it's just too busy. Man, so you're saying if you wanted a haunted house, you need to go down to Bisbee to the Copper Queen Mine? Copper Queen Hotel, huh? There you go. For those of you who are seeking haunted houses, go there. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. It's been an hour and 13 minutes. See you over on Island Hopper TV. Come on over and check out our other channels. Island Hopper TV travel highlights if you want to see more of that like real stuff. But if you like the tours around the cities, you get that on the main channel, Island Hopper TV. And then if you want to see the hotels, you can check out the hotels channel. Like I said, I'm at the JW Marriott here in Surabaya, Indonesia right now. For those of you who did not know, yes, I am in Indonesia. I'm going to Bali soon, but I'm in Surabaya. A lot of people have no idea about Indonesia, but I'm here. There's a lot of things to be learned for me here in this place. It's the 15th largest country in terms of GDP. So anyways, come on over and check out some of those videos that we've made of Jakarta, Yogyakarta, and some of the hotels. See you over there. Roger that. Over and out. See you later, Princess Michelle.